Through all of PSG's God squads, through all of their opportunities they've had to finally get their hands on their first Champions League title, through losing in the final to former PSG Academy product Kingsley Coman and Bayern Munich, to suffering at the hands of the Champions League themselves, Real Madrid, despite having Mbappe, Neymar and Messi, to most recently not even making it out of the round of 16 by losing 3-0 on aggregate to Bayern Munich. Now, this video might age like milk, or who knows, it might end up aging like fine wine. But I think PSG is a much better squad than people realize, and they have a higher chance of winning the Champions League than most people realize. But why do I think this? Well, that's what we'll be talking about today. So what's going on, everyone? You are listening to Back of the Net here. I hope you're all doing well. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get into it. Now, when PSG suffered their second consecutive round of 16 exit in the Champions League, despite having Kylian Mbappe, Neymar, and none other than Lionel Messi, it was pretty obvious that PSG would need some change. This trio had only been at PSG for 2 seasons, and for both of those seasons, they got knocked out at the round of 16 stage. So in the summer of 2023, PSG went through drastic change, and I mean drastic. Seeing 12 players leave on a permanent basis, and another 9 players leave on a loan. In those 12 players leaving included Lionel Messi, who went to Inter Milan, Icardi to Galatasaray, Neymar left, Diallo left, Paredes left, Wijnaldum left, Verratti left, Julian Draxler left. All were big names that weren't necessarily the youngest and weren't really performing all that well for PSG. And an approach that PSG took to the 2023 summer window, which I really admired at the time and I really admire now, was that kind of youth approach. In the 2023 summer window, they would not do what they had continued to do previously by going out to buy the biggest stars with the biggest names. They went out to buy players that may have been a little bit under the radar, didn't have the biggest commercial success, or were just quality players that weren't necessarily the biggest stars with the biggest names that would sell the most tickets and the most shirts. Between getting Skriniar from Inter Milan and Marco Asensio from Real Madrid on frees, PSG also spent 60 million euros on the 22-year-old Ugarte from Sporting Lisbon, someone that may have been under the radar of many football fans, and were even surprised that PSG were willing to spend 60 million euros on a player that most people hadn't heard of. PSG also spent 22 million euros on the then 22-year-old South Korean international Kangin Lee from Mallorca in Spain. Again, another person that a lot of people hadn't heard of before the move to PSG, alongside slightly bigger names like Lucas Hernandez from Bayern Munich, Ousmane Dembele from Barcelona, and PSG weren't done there. They went out to get Gonçalo Ramos from Benfica. The 22-year-old Portuguese striker was amazing in the World Cup and had just come off a 27-goal season for Benfica. They also brought in the 20-year-old Bradley Barcola from Ligue 1 rivals Olympique Lyon, spending 45 million euros on the young Frenchman. And PSG's biggest signing of the summer, financially anyway, was that of Randal Kolo Muani from Frankfurt. Kolo Muani was, and I still guess is, an extremely talented forward that many clubs around Europe wanted. Kolo Muani was coming off a 23-goal season with Frankfurt and had just scored 3 goals in his first 4 games of the new season with Frankfurt. But PSG weren't done there. They brought in the then 18-year-old Endor from Benfica on a free, who has since gone back on loan to Braga in Portugal. And PSG have brought in 2 Brazilian wonder kids in 20-year-old Lucas Beraldo, who is an extremely talented centre-back, and 18-year-old Gabriel Moscardo, who is an extremely talented midfielder. PSG went for the youth movement in the summer and got some really talented youngsters. They may not be performing right now, but in the next 5 years are going to be stars in their own right. And on top of all that personnel change that PSG had on the player side in the summer, they also had change in the managerial position. With Christophe Galtier leaving, they went to get former Barcelona manager and former Spanish head coach Luis Enrique. Enrique had previously won a treble with Barcelona, so although some people thought it was kind of a hire that was kind of meh, I liked it. I've always rated Luis Enrique since his time at Barcelona, and even though he didn't have all that much success with Spain, I still rated him highly as a manager, and I thought this would be a perfect move for PSG, as Enrique has proven in his time at Barcelona that he knows how to deal with a lot of big personalities and also knows how to incorporate and develop youth. I liked a lot of what PSG did in the summer window, and has this new youth and scouting first approach worked instead of big names? Well, outside of sitting top of Ligue 1 by 12 points, outside of having lost just 1 game all season long in the league, outside of making it to the semi-finals of the Coupe de France, outside of winning the French Super Cup for the 2nd year in a row, PSG have finally gotten past the round of 16 hurdle by beating a tricky team in Real Sociedad 4-1 on aggregate. They have now qualified for the quarterfinals and will be taking on Barcelona in what is going to be an extremely juicy tie. Now, PSG haven't been perfect this season. Outside of the 3-2 loss to Nice in the beginning of the season in the league, they have had other poor performances, including an extremely horrible performance on the world stage, losing 4-1 to Newcastle, where they were just second best the whole evening and looked a shell of themselves. And then they also had a very lackluster performance against AC Milan, where they lost 2-1 away from home. But outside of those 3 losses, PSG have been undefeated for the rest of their games the entire season in all competitions. The last time PSG lost a game was that game against Milan in the Champions League group stage on the 7th of November 2023. We are now entering almost April 2024 and they haven't lost another game since. Say what you like about the quality of French football, I'll probably agree with you, it's really not high. PSG are the monopoly in France, for sure. But say what you like about that. Say what you like about the quality of PSG's opponents. To be undefeated for 4 going on 5 months is absolutely insane regardless of the league that you are playing in. The team as a whole are really talented and actually really deep. And with a youngster like Zaire Emery, who I just made a video about him on this channel, go check it out if you haven't already. With a youngster like that also shining for PSG, their future, their academy is looking really bright. Now, the elephant in the room, Kylian Mbappe. He is leaving PSG in the summer for Real Madrid. It's pretty much a guarantee at this point, and it doesn't take a genius to figure out that Kylian has been by far and away PSG's best player for probably 5+ years now. And this season you can say he is borderline carrying PSG on the goal scoring front. I mean, Mbappe has already got 38 goals and 8 assists in just 37 games for PSG this season. Absolutely ridiculous. So with him leaving PSG in the summer, you do a little bit worry for their future, but you look at the youth movement they've been having recently. If they can keep that up, if they can keep bringing in extremely blue chip talents like Zaire Emery, then maybe one day they can fill up that void, fill up that hole of Mbappe. But this season is where you worry for them a little bit. I think it's pretty fair to say that this PSG squad is maybe one Mbappe injury away from their whole season falling off. But then again, I also have a lot of faith in other guys in the squad, and I like Enrique, and I like Enrique's ability to adapt a team when need be. Some players in this PSG squad that are really producing that a lot of people don't actually know about. I mean, the 24-year-old Portuguese midfielder Vitinha has been amazing for PSG this season, having scored 6 goals and got 5 assists from central midfield this season. And then bigger guys like Kolo Muani and Gonzalo Ramos each have 9 goals this season. Outside of Mbappe, this PSG team doesn't seem too unbalanced. Their defense is really strong and really deep. I mean, Donnarumma is one of the best goalkeepers in the world. But again, the only problem I see with this PSG team is their over-reliance on Mbappe's goal scoring. Outside of that, I think this PSG team is really good and really balanced in their play. Now, will PSG win the Champions League? Is that what I'm trying to say to you guys in this video? Well, I don't know, but like Barcelona, it's not out of the realms of possibility. Look, they are far from the favorites of the winners of the Champions League, but with them being drawn on the much weaker side of the brackets, for PSG to at least make a final appearance in the Champions League, and anything can happen there, for PSG to make that appearance is very realistic. Like I've said, PSG are a well-functioning team, and the only real fault I can give them seems to be their heavy reliance on Mbappe. And when he leaves PSG, they will have to make up for 40 to 50 goals a season. How will they do that? Well, I'm not exactly sure, but that's not their worry right now. The only thing they have to worry about right now is the Champions League. Look, PSG are a very strong team, and they are more than capable of pulling off an upset. I mean, having only lost 3 games all season and top in the group of death, not to mention being drawn on the easier side of the bracket in the Champions League knockout stages, well, anything is possible. But yeah, guys, that's the video. Let me know in the comments below, what do you guys think about PSG's chances of winning the Champions League? Is it unrealistic? Do you think they can at least make the final? Let me know in the comments below. Please be sure to smash the like button, subscribe if you guys haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one.